Okay, hi and welcome to Meet the Professionals. This is a series where I sit down with various people from various industries to find out a bit more about what they do. Today I'm chatting with Karoline from nDreams and she is a designer there. Hi Karoline.
Hi.
I thought we could start off by you just saying your actual job title and telling us a bit about what you do.
Yeah. So I'm working as a senior gameplay designer at nDreams, and it's I always think it's a bit hard to tell what I'm doing because there usually is so much that you can do as a designer. So as a senior gameplay designer, I both work with features in the game, and a feature in a game can be anything from like how the player is moving to how their combat or how system is working. Like if you want to build something or if you want to craft something or how a battle should be designed, basically.
Okay.
I also work with some of the narrative in the game, just framing the story. What should you do? What is the mission that you are aiming for? We also do some implementation and some paper design of these features that we're working with. And yeah, we talk a lot also. I can say, like a lot of designers' job is actually talk with the other people in the team, talk with coders, talk with artists, basically be this connection between the game director that has this vision over the game and the team, and kind of transform that vision so it's being interpreted in the way that the game director actually want it.
There sounds like there's a lot of, just from that intro, there's a lot of variety and so many different kind of things you can go down. That sounds really exciting.
Yeah, so I mean, I can say that as a designer, you can either go more in the writing direction where you write a lot, but you can also go more in the technical direction if you want that, and more do scripting and coding. So you can kind of choose which field you want to go into. But yeah, as a designer, like that's kind of like a broad area, basically.
Yeah. Okay. How did you get into sort of working at nDreams in the position in now? Did you sort of go to college, uni, and go down that route, or was it more kind of experience-based and in the workplace?
So I actually study a bachelor in computer science, and the reason why I took it was that I actually didn't know that you could work with games. So when I was in my last year at high school, a friend's friend actually was working as a game artist, and I was like, oh wow, you can actually be a game artist.
It's a real job.
So that actually made me start to think maybe I can be working with this. So I chose to study computer science and not a specific game school, because at that time it was still kind of new in Sweden because I grew up in Sweden basically. So it was kind of new with the game industry and the schools and everything, and I didn't really know if it would be easy or hard to get a job in the industry. So I thought if I take something that's a bit bigger, then even if I'm not going to work with games, I'm going to still work in something kind of similar. So that's basically why I took computer science. And then I've also been focusing on getting into game design and basically spending a lot of time with training and learning and trying to understand different kind of tools. Like there's Unity and Unreal that you can use, those kind of things, but also study games that are out. Like what is it that makes this game good or not good? Like why do people like this game and why do people don't like this game? Those kind of things, basically.
Yeah, so you're understanding sort of the technical, how to use the software and things, but it's also, like you say, the process and why is this good and why is that?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the most exciting, for you personally, what's the most exciting project or game you've ever worked on? What was your sort of favourite?
Oh, that's a hard one. Like, I mean, I can't really tell what I'm working on now, but the thing I'm working on now is something I think is super cool. We're going to tease more about it later this year, so it's kind of like stay tuned for that. But that is something that is it's something that I think is really fun and a cool project. Beside this, I also used to work at an MMO game called Star Stable. It's this big open horse adventure game, which was also kind of a cool and like an interesting game of working with, since it was like weekly releases. So yeah, I kind of would give that as an answer.
Yeah. Okay. You touched on this earlier, but what skills would you say someone in the games industry in your position in particular needs? You mentioned obviously communication is key because you're sort of working between people, but what else?
I would say that, first of all, if you want to get into games, just try to figure out what it is you want to do, because there's so much. Like, you can be an artist, an animator, a coder, audio designer, or like a game designer. So there are so many specific or different parts you can work with. So first, kind of identify that part, but then also start training on that part. For example, if you want to be a designer, because that's what I know more about, I would really recommend starting to learn a game engine like Unreal or Unity. Those are game engines that are free to basically download. It sounds like I'm selling them in, but I'm not promoting. Yeah, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but basically they are free software for students to download, and there's a lot of free tutorials, and that is where I basically would recommend them. And Unreal and Unity are also softwares that are actually being used by the professionals, like we are using Unreal in my job. So that is basically why I would kind of like suggest to start learning those tools and actually start doing your own small projects. I would also really recommend that if you are a designer, first of all, I think it's really important that you like collaboration, because for me, I think it's such an important part to be able to collaborate and help each other out, because I think it's a strength of working together with other designers, because usually you can get out so much better ideas than if you're just sitting, alone with your own thoughts and no input at all. So I think it's a really strength to have other people's input and other people's thoughts about what you're working with. But I would also say, as a designer, it's good if you start to learn and understand a bit of the other fields. Like, for me as a designer, it has been a really strength to understand what an artist is talking about when they're talking about modeling or texturing, or when an animator is talking about their work. So basically have a broader perspective. But I would say basically start with an game engine, and learn it. Play different kind of games, different types of games, and try to like break them down. And basically start from there, and then you can also eventually learn like the other things, like with the art and animation and code. I mean, you don't need to know it. It's just good that you have like a kind of vague idea what it is about. And
because then, like you say, you can sort of find your feet a little bit, find your path, and then by knowing a little bit about everything, that will help with the communication. So it's what does that mean? What would you say is your favorite aspect about your job? What do you enjoy doing the most?
I actually think it's my colleagues, the people I'm working with, because in this industry, it's so many talent and passionate people. And I really love to work beside these people who are so like, they're really good at what they're doing, and they really love what they're doing. And I can easily get so motivated and like into my work when I hear people around me start to talk about like, oh, we did this and that. And, you can really hear that they enjoy what they're doing. It's also really nice because I've been working during my years at the uni. I was working, as those smaller, shop assistant and stuff like that. And usually you didn't have always that much common with your colleagues. But here in the game industry, you can always find that common ground, because all of you are into gaming. And I feel like a lot of my colleagues that I met during these years, like, it's been really easy to talk to them. And I would basically say like the people is amazing.
That's so nice, like such a team thing going on, and sort of like you say, similar, and you'll care about what you do, which is amazing. What's your working environment like? Is it sort of a traditional kind of office where there's studios and all cool different bits going on?
At the moment we all work remotely from home, but normally we actually work in an office, and it kind of looks like, an everyday office, open space, people with computers. It looked kind of like like a normal office, except that
yeah.
you might see people having game-related themes at their desk, or sometimes offices tries to, showcase some of their products with like cool stuff in the reception and things like that. But normally it's just like an office, basically.
Nice. Okay, cool. Karoline, where do you see the gaming industry, maybe your role in particular, or the gaming industry as a whole, in sort of 5 to 10 years' time? Do you see it changing much, evolving? What do you think is in store?
I think it's going to grow. I think it's going to continue to grow. Like today, the gaming industry is bigger than both the music and the movie industry combined. And I think basically the gaming is just going to continue to grow. And I think we're going to see more different type of games, basically. I think already today we see more variations of games that are out, but I think we're going to see even more. And I think we're going to see new type of games evolving during the years. So I definitely think that games are going to be growing. And I think there's going to be a big need for more professionals, more people who educate themselves and know how to make games, basically.
Nice. Okay. Have you found in the gaming industry over the years you've worked in it, it's become more diverse? Because obviously when you think of gaming and you think of it, the stereotype is to always think, oh, that's boys, 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 but that's so not true, is it? And I just wondered, are you finding, is it becoming more sort of female and, more open to diversity, essentially?
I would definitely say so. I think there are probably companies out there that are still quite few women working at. Overall, like, I know that there are there are more men working in the game industry than female, but the females are actually starting to get more into working with games as well. I've been working at 2 companies, both at Star Stable now and at nDreams, are both quite diverse company. And I think like it's just going to continue to grow, because working in a diverse company, I think it's so beneficial, because once again, like when you're working in a group with people with different perspective, like different background, different way of thinking, you usually get the best result at the end. So I think this is, or that's something at least I hope, that it will be more and more diverse, and that people will more get into this industry, both from different, side of the world, but also more women and females, basically. And I would wait, I would really encouraging if there are any female out there who wants to get into the game industry to actually do it. Because I have had I think like the places I have been working with or in has been really good. And it's been a really nice working environment. And I wouldn't say that, I would basically just encourage it, basically.
So sort of don't let it almost seem like a barrier to it, because if anything, it's sort of encouraged, diversity. It only brings about good things. So
exactly. I think it's just good.
Okay, one last question for you, Carol.
Yes.
What piece of advice would you give to someone who's sort of starting out, maybe just wants to work in games but doesn't have a clue, or perhaps someone who wants to follow a similar route to you? What advice would you give them?
The first thing I would actually want to say is that they should believe in themselves, and that they should actually strive for it, because I know that there are still people out there who might not see games or the game industry as a real profession, but it is. And once again, it's growing. So that's why I just want to say to those people that believe in yourself and start walking the walk, basically. But then I would also recommend to actually look into Unreal or Unity as game engines, and just start looking at those free tutorials, and maybe look into one of the schools that are around in the country that can provide these educational forward one of these disciplines, like either art, animation, concept, design, coding, or something like that.
Okay, nice, perfect. Well, Karoline, thank you for chatting with us today.
Thank you so much.
I feel all empowered to go join the industry now. It does sound a lot of fun, and like you say, it should be seen. It's only going to grow, and it's only going to get sort of bigger and better. So I'm personally very excited to kind of see how it goes. So, and good luck with the launch as well of the new game. Sort of, yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Thank you.
Okay, guys watching, thank you so much. And if you have any questions for Karoline, just pop them in the comments and we will get back to you. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos.